Hi there! I'm extremely excited and a little bit nervous to be making this video today, but we are gonna go through the Sumeru Live Symphony Performance, baby! For those of you guys who don't know, I'm actually a violinist of 19 years. I went to music school for it, and I've been classically trained. I focused mostly in the Baroque period for my style of play, well, my preferred style of play. But on top of that, I do be a little ethnically diverse. By that, I mean a lot. So I feel like it's my opportunity to flex, but also to really show you what I'm super passionate about. After spending a lot of years of my life in India, because as a lot of you know, English is my third language. I speak Malayalam and Tamil as my first two languages. I also spent a lot of time in Dubai as well, because I have a lot of family there too. And of course, Africa. So this is like the perfect opportunity for me to kind of get into the nitty-gritty here of just some of the most meaningful content to me, which is me being able to give you music breakdowns. If you happen to learn anything from this video, I really hope you hit the like and subscribe button. Also, if anyone wants to react to this video, you're more than welcome to. I don't mind people making reaction videos of my content. All I ask is that you link me, preferably. Maybe give me a little shout out. That'd be kind of cool. Anyways, let's get into it. It's starting! So, first thing off is I'm going to pause a lot during this video to explain stuff. So, you're going to have to hold the L on that. I'm sorry, people who don't like pause Andes, but that's who I am. Wow, that will go crazy. But, yeah, so first thing off is we're going to talk about is introducing themes. When you have a piece that is extremely stylized... Ooh, tremolo. I realize I have a hard time talking and listening at the same time. First off, the side note that I'm going to go on here. Tremolo is when you have a succession of the same note played rapidly. So, all the same note. So it creates that sort of like sound that you hear in a lot of the boss fights in Genshin. That creates sort of that crunchy atmosphere. The opposite would like the opposing side of that would be something called trill, which you maybe heard of that before, which is the rapid succession of switching between two notes, usually like a half stop, but it'd be like dig 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 instead. But yeah. Anyways, back to what I was saying before, is we have the introduction to themes. This is important because when you have the beat drop, you don't want to feel like you hit an acid trip. You want to feel like you're being led into something and it's a payoff like you're in the same song. When you have a song that's jarring, the beat drops, and it doesn't feel the same anymore thematically, it's because they didn't introduce themes early on. It makes it so when we have our increase in our musical prowess and our dominance of the orchestra joining in, that it feels justified and it feels right thematically. Wait! I didn't notice that the first time I watched. Is she holding a tambura? We'll get to that when they have to zoom in on her at some point. I don't think I noticed that the first time when I watched it on stream. Oh yeah, if she's actually using one, we'll see. I'm too focused on it. We'll get there, we'll get there. So here we are playing in 4th position. So our hand is shoved to the body of the violin, giving us that rich flurry of notes. Back to first for a lot of the second section. First section staying with our higher ends. Those beautiful glistening notes. Alright, this part is actually cool because it introduced a Genshin theme. Genshin has this very own stylized sound that they add into a lot of their base themes, so that when you hear a song, you go, "Oh, that's a Genshin Impact song." And that was them introducing that there. That's how they kind of introduce that it's their own song and their own composition. Yes! Let's go! Let's freaking go! I'm so excited. Okay, here we are with the mandolin. The mandolin is actually an instrument that's pretty common here in North America. The reason why I'm defining this as a mandolin and not a different type of instrument is because of the short neck, the 8 strings set in 2s, and also that it has frets. That's what makes it a mandolin instead of a different instrument. So kind of just the basic rundown of that one. But this is where we start to get into the stylized stuff, and I'm just really excited. Ah, now this is something different. This is the oud. The oud is like, it's kind of like a lute that you would see in role-playing games, but without frets. It's fretless. As you can see here, you don't see a single line here dividing. And that's where we're able to get these kind of more kind of sounds. It's so, oh, I'm fangirling way too hard, but that's what it is. It's an oud. Yes! I had the privilege of playing a ney before, and it is so freaking fun. Okay, so let me teach you one. I'm going to teach you how to play this instrument and how it's performed just by showing you. So I knew this was coming up because I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw it, and I freaked out on stream about it when I saw this live. So how did I identify this was a ney versus another wooden style of flute? Now, this is where we get into how to perform it. So when you take a ney, you actually use the side of your mouth, not completely off to the side, just slightly off the center. Now, you will see his lips pushed outwards, thus making it so that the instrument's held slightly down and to the right almost. So you can blow the air outwards into the instrument as well. So you can see his arm positioning that's all slanted off to the side, his lips pursed outwards, but it's not directly in front, it's off to the side a bit here. So this is the ney. Oh, okay. This will probably be the part I talk about the most. But before we go into that, before I get sidetracked, here we are. This is the Riqq. The Riqq is, don't think of it like a tambourine per se. It is a hand drum, but it has 5 cymbals, as you can see here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the bottom. And usually the front of it is snakeskin, but you can see here it's plastic. We're not going to be controversial around these neck of the woods, I guess. So, and yeah, it's actually this really cool, like 5-cymbaled instrument versus like a regular tambourine and things like that, where you'd have like multiple cymbals that are a little bit smaller. These are very large, glaringly popping out ones. Okay, I'm gonna let this play out for a second. Ooh, yeah. Ooh! Oh, he killed that. Okay, so we're getting into the sitar. So I actually grew up with having a sitar in my home. My mom was born and raised in India. She moved out of India when she was in her like 20s. So I grew up with this. And where do I even begin? So the sitar is this amazing instrument in which you actually don't physically like hold it onto you. You sit in like a lotus position, like more like a half lotus. Your leg kind of comes outwards at the bottom here. You can kind of see his leg not fully tucked in, this front one, because that's like his anchor leg. You kind of keep it tightly to that, and you just lay your forearm on top of it. It just kind of stays there. You don't have to worry about anything crazy when it comes to that, but holding it in place. Now, into the playing of the sitar itself. We're going to talk about it as like da and ra and then dire. Okay? Now, what is da? What is ra? Now, it is about the plucking of the strings itself. We have, this is like, I'm fangirling so hard because I just can't believe I get to talk about this for a Genshin video. So we have the mizrab. The mizrab is like the finger pick. You wear it on your index finger. And when you stroke towards yourself, that is da. Ra is when you like pull the string away from yourself, when you go stroke downwards. So da upwards, down, ra. Da ra. Dere. Dere is when you do like both the strokes. Like it's kind of like that. A better example would be like if I were to stroke up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That'd be da dere 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 da. Right? And the intention of using ra, which is the downward stroke, is when you're trying to create this like da ra. It's like this accented down, like da. So da 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 da. I hope that kind of explains it to an extent. So this player is playing on top of the frets to create a resonating sound. Rather than playing in between frets like you would on like a guitar or something, or doing hammer-ons where you just touch the fret, you play more deliberately onto the frets themselves. So just for those of you guys who play guitar, maybe easier to understand there. Oh, is that a def? Yeah. Okay, so this is a larger drum that's used purely just to keep beat. It's not, its purpose is sort of, it goes hand in hand usually with a Riqq, which is why I was kind of surprised. But that is really cool. I didn't even notice he had a Darabuka the first time I watched this. I've played the Darabuka. Oh my god! Okay! I can teach you about how to play this instrument. The Darabuka is, you kind of keep it on, like, your side, as you can see this man holding. It's actually, like, longer behind his arm. You can't really tell from this angle. I hope they show a different angle of it later on, but the reason why it's called Darabuka, I should mention this first, is actually because of the sound the instrument makes itself. It has this sort of tangy outer edge. Like, da-da-da-da, like, buraga, 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 and inside is, like, da. It's, like, very deep, very deep. So it's like you kind of like have your thumbs playing the outer rims as the meaty part of your fingers kind of slap the center. Da da da, and your thumb kind of goes, it creates that like a little bit more of a crispy sound to it, like a little bit more like light. Yeah, wow, that's so cool. Like I can see his thumb like doing all the work on the outer rim, and the fingers playing throughout. What are the darbuka? Oh, I'm just so excited. It's like a dream come true. Oh, back at the sitar. Oh, I've never seen it played with finger drumming before. I've seen it with finger picks before. It's similar to those of you who watched my previous video to a koto. A koto in Japan is like a finger picked string instrument that lays on the floor. This I thought was a kwanan. I thought, but I've never seen this before when it being used. I've always seen finger picking. So yeah, I could be wrong. Ah! oh! It was a tambura. Okay, tambura is strange to be used here, but I'll explain why it's strange and why I was so surprised to see this at the start. I don't know why I keep getting like jump scared by this video, but clearly I am. So a tambura is used for vocal singing. I wouldn't expect it to be used here. The reason why it's used for vocal singing, by the way, is because it's supposed to keep you basically in check. It's like, hey, match your lower octave, your higher octave, and your middle note. Everything else is fair game. So the best way to describe this would be, I guess, with the traditional way to explain it. So you know how you have like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? The difference with this is that we have sa and we have pa. Yeah, pa is the middle. Yeah. So like sa is like the lower note, the higher note, and then the middle is pa. Pa is the powerful piece. And then the like sort of range that we're playing is called raga. It's called raja. Raja is the part that we're playing. I guess the way I would explain this would be with the parsa kind of example. Mind you, I didn't plan on singing during this, so I'm just gonna show you like a very simplistic way. My disclaimer to the sounding bad. Sa pa. Like, right? It's keeping these notes stern. Now that we have our framework, we can freely glide between because we have it matched with the instrument. So let's say we go da 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 da, right? We can kind of flow between now, without having to worry about it. So the instrument keeps us in check as a singer. Is it strange that I want to cry? I'm so emotional right now. I don't know how to explain how much this means to me. Song number 2, baby! There's a lot of instruments I missed out, so let's get into those. Dude, the ode is so cool! The ode is so cool! I'm trying to spot instruments that I haven't explained it to you all. Speaking of which, a tar? No, it's not a tar. A tar, okay, I mixed this up with a tar because it has an hourglass figure as the base, then a super long neck and doubled up strings. So, and taras usually have between like 3 to 4 sets of strings, just like this clearly does. But no, this is definitely was it a bozuki? A bozuki is I believe what it's called. It's more of a Turkish instrument, which is why I'm less familiar with it, but I'm pretty sure that's what we're going for here because it has the long neck. It is fretted, and instead of having the hourglass sort of style, it has more pronounced strings on a flatter gourd. So, very cool, very cool. Normally, you would see like a large hole though for that. So it's to see it without that is a bit strange, but maybe that's like the modernism of these instruments for me. I'm too stuck in the past now. Oh, what we mentioned before. Notice how it's not aligned to the center of his mouth. It's off to the side. You can see it way more clearly here. His arms set more to the one side as well, the right side. Him playing his lips pursed outwards, creating the sound, the airflow to be coming through the pipe in a more less direct, dead-on way, but more through the side of the mouth. Like, oh, yeah. Ooh, baby! I would be a little bit honest. I was really looking forward to if there's a kanjira here, just like a talk about it, but I don't think there is a kanjira here. It's a hand drum. So unless I missed it. Unless I missed it. If I missed it, chat, let me know. I mean, commenters. Okay, so one thing I do want to explain before we like kind of come close to our conclusion here is how do I make my instruments that are traditionally playing like more classical pieces into more of this Eastern style of play? And though we're used to talking about notes being in certain key signatures, it's the breaking of rules that are able to create such dynamic sounds in a different scenario. So the best way to explain it, without being as wordy as I am, would be a lot of half-step notes. You want, without fully committing to a key signature, it's like flirting with death. You're constantly creating notes that are either sharp or slightly out of place intentionally, to create more of this like twang, flutter sound in between notes. It's a beautiful like music style of genius when it comes to the Eastern world of understanding that music can sort of flow like the river, that it ebbs and flows, that waves aren't consistent, that they flutter, that they have little skips and ripples in them. So a lot of notes kind of depict that same sort of nature, which is kind of like what I was talking about earlier. I was talking about before with like Raja and like staying within like confinements of like certain notes, but at the same time the in-between can like fluctuate and be dynamic. So it's more of like an artistic sort of style and choice. He is very talented. Oh! Who taught him the name like that? Oh my god, he hit it. Oh, actually a cool hand technique you could have seen there from the drummer here, the percussionist. Ready for this? You might be wondering, why the hell is this man feeling up his damn drums? The reason is it's actually a dampening. So he's using his hand to dampen the sound so it doesn't like resonate for too long. A lot of the time you'll see drummers who hit the drum and their hand kind of springs upwards after, right? That's to create the dong. It like resonates. This is just to mute it after. It's intentionally dampening, as I said before. Dun. Like, see, did you hear it cutting out when he hits it? Do you hear it cutting out when he puts his hand down? Dun dun, dun dun, right? Rather than dun 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 dun, it's dun 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 dun. Oh, the beauty of the ney being in the mimicry of the ney by other instruments as well, taking flight here, letting the woodwinds, letting the sounds resonate in the air, of it all sort of coming together as one in unison, though the sounds aren't truly the same. Now, why that makes it for it to become an interesting piece is that when it comes to how instruments are custom made, especially in the Eastern world, is we have hand carvings, and hand carvings actually create different sounds within our instruments. The same thing applies when we're applying snake skin or other skins to our drumming, that drums can sound dynamically different from each other because of what we use material wise, versus sort of like these manufactured ones that you get all the time with other instruments where they're meant to sound very similar. Traditionally, North American orchestras, you want to sound as similar and as in unison as possible. In situations like this for this kind of music, sounding like the masses, sounding a little bit different but still in key with each other, creates it for it to be more of a richer feel and more authentic to where we're coming from. That guy got the coolest mustache, hands down. Needs to be talked about, needed to be noted. We're good. Oh, we should talk about the conductor a little bit. I think this piece is coming to an end soon. So the conductor here, just to kind of teach you a little bit about his role, the conductor does more than keep the time signature, right? It's a common misconception with him. What his role is to make sure that he keeps the live performance together. The conductor helps make notes about the piece, like, oh, as a listener, I'm listening in during rehearsals and understanding that, oh, this part is a little bit too strong when it comes to the section. I'll make sure to intentionally make them make the notes in their own pieces, in their own scores, as well as going to my score and making note of it as well, so I can direct them and be like, okay, bring it down, right? Make the dramatic motion towards the section that needs to kind of simmer down on something. That way, when it comes to the live performance, we're able to kind of keep those same things amalgamated. Now, what else you'll see with the conductor is keeping breaths together. It sounds like a weird concept, but we all need to be breathing. And keeping your breath similar to those around you and breathing together is a technique that's used a lot with wind instruments, but actually is used with violinists as well, strangely enough. The reason being is that when you breathe together, you're more likely to have a lot more oneness, is I guess what we would more so call it. And thus, you'll see like the conductor go, and make this motion going upwards, and then push his pointy stick, his wizard wand, outwards, and things like that. Smaller motions like that help keep everyone together beyond just having, oh, play in time forehead. It's okay, you're playing too loud in this during this live performance, come down, bring it down. They'll have their arm outward stretched towards it, and then they'll bring in the next group. Even though it's already written for them to come in with everybody, it's also just an extra motion to bring them in if they need to come in a bit more silently. They started off a little too punchy. He will motion for them to bring it in a bit more quietly. Things like that to help keep things afloat. That's the conductor's job. So, especially when you're surrounded by all of your same instruments, it's hard to ever like fully grasp the full sound of everything, even with the natural acoustics of this place that they're performing in. Though the natural acoustics of this theater is incredible, by the way. Like, we could talk about sound designing and engineering of rooms, but that's a whole... Actually, I can talk about that a little bit because I want to. So, when I talk about natural acoustics is when you have ricocheting walls, but the panels are slightly angled off each other. So when it bounces off, it evenly disperses. So no matter where you're listening to in this room, it will sound like you are dead center. It's so cool because you're like, oh, I'm right next to this goddamn trumpet player. Why can't I hear anything? You're like, like over here, like, I'm sorry, this is where the trumpets are. Over by this trumpet player, why can't I hear anything? It's like, it doesn't matter because the natural acoustics help fill the air for you, so it doesn't feel as overwhelming when you sit next to one side. That was a really cool thing to mention. Let's listen to the ending again because I didn't get it. I talked over it. This guy looks like he's hiding a secret or something, man. It's adorable. The long bow strokes. Oh, yes. Oh, and then the vibrato, and then lifting the bows off, letting the sound resonate in the air. When I say resonate, like holding, like it fills the room. It makes you feel warm inside. When the end of a song comes to a close, and you go, ah, like that feeling, that is when a note hangs in the air. You can choose to have it cut hard if you want to, but Genshin chooses to usually let these rock out for a reason, because it hits so right. It feels so rich. And yeah, that's some of the Sumeru pieces that we're able to go through today. If you watched all the way through, I appreciate it. And by the way, as I said before, use my content however you want to. I really don't care. I hope you enjoyed the video though, and I hope you leave a comment and leave a like. It does help me a lot, and I would love to do more music breakdowns. If there's other songs in Genshin you want me to break down, I'm more than happy to do it. I even broke down Yinjin's opera singing performance. I've done Anko Mia's battle theme before. Just a lot of really cool stuff here and there, but I'm more than happy to keep it going. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye everybody. Bye. Oh, I also upload/stream daily here on YouTube in the morning. Haha.